So, I'm just sitting here. I'm going to train and ran out of pre workout. So, I had to come here. So, I'm letting that kick in and then I'm going to go do some arms because weekends are always arms. I thought I'd take a sec to go over the Arnold since I had some time that happened on the weekend. It was a hell of a show. The right guy won, in my opinion. Sampson is outstanding, man. That guy's going to be the next Ronnie Coleman, in my opinion. Him and Andrew Jack, they're going to be battling it out for years. A lot of people might not agree or whatever. It's a bodybuilding show at the end of the day. And there's always going to be people that, they're cheering for other people, want them to win no matter what. And I get that. But I saw, this was the first Arnold I didn't watch in a long time. I've been keeping up with it and following it over the weekend, but I wasn't watching it 100%. I saw videos after, before, prejudging, all that stuff. And honestly, after prejudging, I think I had Andrew and Nick battling it for first. The only reason I say that is because it seemed that Sampson didn't look 100% dry. He just looked like he had a bit of water to drop yet. But he still, I think, even looking like that, he could, I was in the back of my head, I'm like, he could win this still. Because he was just that much bigger. He dwarfed Nick on stage. Nick is good and big, but he's going to have a hell of a time against Andrew Jack and Sampson, in my opinion. His structure is, put it this way, I had Sean Clarita beating him. Yeah, that might be a crazy statement, but Sean, in my opinion, looks massive. Even though he weighs, 190 pounds, 180 pounds? I don't know, maybe he was a little bigger for this show, maybe he was over 2, I don't know. But, the other guys are sitting up there at 260 muscle. And I had Sean beating Nick because I thought if you put them side by side, Sean's look would be match Nick or make him or be bigger. And the only reason I know it doesn't make sense when one guy's 240 or 250 like Nick is and Sean's 200, but Sean's muscles are so fucking big and full. He looks like he's 260, and I thought, I know everybody thinks Nick's this big mutant fucking mass monster on stage. I don't get that. Off season he's 300 pounds, but man, he diets down to under 250 for a show. That's not that big for a show. The guys on stage, the average guy's about 260, 265 on stage. Now we're even higher, most of them, right? So 245, 250 isn't big. So I don't know why we keep giving Nick all this credit that he's such a beast up there, because I like him, but I think there's a lot better. And yeah, I'm going to probably get roasted for saying that because everybody likes Nick, but you guys got to also remember, Nick came in when bodybuilding wasn't that happening. COVID hit when he came on the scene. So a lot of big name guys weren't competing. And again, I don't want to take a lot away from Nick, but he placed first at the Arnolds. He didn't have a big lineup behind him. Ian finished second. And I love Ian, but Ian probably wouldn't have done 7th in this show. Maybe. I don't know. He wouldn't have been top 5. So he really hasn't gone up against even in the O. I mean, it was Rami was there. I mean, it wasn't the lineup with the guys that we normally see, and now we're seeing those guys that are back, that are allowed to travel and allowed to do the big shows, and the right guys are winning. I mean, do I think Nick's going to win an Olympia? No, I don't. I don't. I think the guys coming up now are bigger and better. Don't get me wrong, Nick could do something, but I mean, I just think that when you look like somebody that looks like Sampson or Andrew, yeah, Andrew's got work to do on his back a little bit. So does Sampson, but not. I mean, Sampson's back is coming big time, and his legs are crazy. When you've got to compete against guys like that, and they're taller with huge, they're just massive with that V frame and X taper, or X frame and V taper. And you were kind of like, Nick has a V taper a little bit, but I mean, he's never going to have that frame. And as long as those guys are in the shows, in my opinion, Nick's going to lose. So, I don't know. I'm going to get roasted for that probably, but it is what it is. I don't really care. Sampson deserved to win. He looked amazing. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Hostile Sups. Well deserved. Fouad's got an eye, man. I don't care if you love him or hate him. That guy's got an eye. He picked out Sampson, 6-7 years ago, I think. Or maybe it wasn't that long ago. Maybe it was 5 years ago. I'm not too sure. But it was a while back, and was talking about him and signed him. He's picked up some big name guys. He had Nick. Right after Nick, kind of, I think after he won, what was it, the Arnolds, I think. It was a little bit after that. And then Nick doing what Nick does, running away and jumping off, not staying true to people, took off. He had Nathan. Man, he's got some good bodybuilders. The guys he has now, right? Like, Samson's amazing. Justin's gonna be decent coming up, it looks like. I'm not sure what he's doing. I think he's going to open now too, so that'll be interesting. He looks good. He's big. But I mean, Fouad's got an eye, and whoever thinks he's an idiot and doesn't know what he's talking about, he does. He knows what he's doing out there. So congrats to him. Sampson deserves a lot for what he's done in a short period of time. A lot of people need to open their eyes and see. I mean, we could be looking at the next Ronnie, in my opinion. If he stays big and keeps building. I mean, the guy's 300 pounds, just under 300 off, diet it down. That's massive. Massive. So, I mean, that's good. I think he's got his future's going to be amazing. I think he's going to probably win the O next year, to be honest. I do think that. Make my prediction right now. I think he'll beat Lunsford, Nick. Whatever. I don't think Nick might be third again if he's lucky. Hottie, there's some big names, but I mean, I also think Sampson should have probably placed higher at the O this year. He did great, but I still had him ahead of two other guys on that top five. So, he's gonna crush it here for the next little while. I think for the next 4 years, he's gonna be the next big thing. and Andrew's going to be biting his ankles all the way there. So, or nipping at it. He's Andrew. If Andrew gets it together, it's lights out for everybody. Oh, lights out for everybody. You ain't going to compete with him. That's the bottom line. So if Andrew gets it together, and the only reason getting it together, getting his legs up, bringing them in a little bit more, and a bit better back, polished up, he'll be the guy. So those are the two to watch for. Andrew just has a little bit more work to do to get there, but he's fucking there. He finished third at the Arnold, so he's made a big improvements too. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to say. I know I'm going to get shit for a lot of that, but it is what it is. It's my opinion, and it's fun, and I wish I would have watched the whole thing this year, but there's stuff going on, so I couldn't. But yeah, it was good. So awesome! Congratulations, Sampson. Well deserved, and hostile subs. Good job. So.